Hello everyone, welcome back. I am feeling so productive today. I think it's because we've moved into our new office, and like I was saying in my last vlog, we moved offices recently and we didn't go far. We just moved from one villa to the villa right across. So not far, but there's just something about being in a new space that's making me feel really like motivated and energized and super productive. But anyway, so moving on to today's video, I wanted to talk you guys through some of the best sunscreens that I've been trying recently. There's a really great sunscreen for sensitive skin, for dry skin, for oily skin, one that works for pretty much all skin types, and a really fantastic body sunscreen as well. Now, just a really quick word about sunscreens being oily and greasy. I know that there is this notion about sunscreens traditionally leaving like a sort of greasy film on your face, and while it's true that formulations have gotten a lot better over the years, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I have never tried a sunscreen that I've really liked that hasn't been ever so slightly greasy, just a little greasy on the skin. There are sunscreens out there that are completely mattifying, but I try and stay away from them. And I know that might sound a little crazy because I specifically have such oily skin, but the thing about extremely mattifying sunscreens is they tend to feature an ingredient called alcohol denat, is what you'll see on the ingredient list, and it'll be really high up, like maybe the second or third ingredient. And what that really is denatured alcohol. And denatured alcohol is basically just pure alcohol, and it's one of the worst things that you can put on your skin. It accelerates cell damage, it accelerates skin aging, and in addition to that, it just is so bad for your skin, especially if you have oily skin, because it dries your skin out completely. If you completely dry your skin out, it will just overcompensate by pumping out even more oil. So while it may be a good thing in the short term, in the long run, you're kind of damaging your skin. So try and stay away from sunscreens that have an ingredient called denatured alcohol in them. There are sunscreens available, Asian sunscreens, specifically Japanese sunscreens, that don't feature any denatured alcohol. But today we are really just talking about sunscreens that you can buy in India. Let's talk about why sunscreens are greasy in the first place. Now, in order to be effective, sunscreens have to really adhere to your skin. They have to be able to stay on your skin even when you're sweating, even when it's a little bit warmer out, even when you've been out and about for say 5 or 6 hours in the sun. And so in order to ensure that sunscreens will adhere to your skin, they tend to feature a lot of ingredients in them that make them stick to your skin, like silicones and other sort of plasticizers and stuff like that. Now, there are a couple of things that you can do to combat the inherent greasiness or heaviness of the sunscreen. The first thing is let it sink into your skin. Sunscreen should be the last step of your skincare regime, and it should be the thing you put on before you either add a primer or your regular foundation. So give it about 15 minutes after you put it on to just let it sink into your skin a little bit. The second thing is wear makeup. So add a little bit of foundation on top of it, maybe a mattifying foundation, set it with a setting powder. And if you don't want to wear any other makeup, that's fine, but I find that the best way to sort of counter that little bit of, film that you can see on your face sometimes with sunscreen is to just use a little bit of makeup. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's get started. Starting out with sensitive skin, I am a really big fan of Avent's Very High Protection SPF 50 cream. Now, Avent says that this is best suited to dry and sensitive skin, but I have really oily skin and I love this stuff. For one, it's really gentle on your skin. It doesn't clog your pores, and it's never ever made me break out. It's the gentlest of all the sunscreens that I'm talking about today. I tend to use it on days when I really have been doing a lot to my skin. So say, for example, I am dealing with a breakout, or say I'm, going a little bit heavy-handed with the exfoliating acids like the glycolic acid and the retinol. It blends right into your skin. It doesn't leave a white cast, which is really great. And when you take photos with this stuff on, there's none of that flashback. I would say it's all skin types, but if your skin is sensitive or a little sensitized, this is a really good option. Next up, we have this product by Decleor. It is the Aroma Sun Expert SPF 50, and this is just, how do I explain it? It is a hybrid product. It's a cream and a moisturizer in one, and it is technically for dry skin, but I really love using this. It's a little bit heavy on my skin sometimes if it's a really warm day, but I love using this in the winter, and I have to stop myself from using it during the summer as well, for two reasons. The first is it just smells amazing. It smells so good. Decleor is one of those classic French brands. It's really good for skincare in general, and it just makes me feel kind of fancy when I have it on. You know, it smells beautiful, but because it has fragrance in it, I would say that it's not necessarily the best for sensitive skin. So if you have skin that's already sensitive and it gets a little irritated with fragrance, probably not your best bet, go with Aven. But if you have older skin or if you have dry skin, this is just such a fantastic product. In addition to smelling really amazing, it also features a bunch of anti-aging ingredients as well, which a lot of sunscreens tend not to. So it features extracts of vanilla and jasmine, which is great for anti-aging. It also features rose oil, which is superb for dry or dehydrated skin. Now this is really good for days when I don't have a lot of time and I'm rushing out the door. I just use this as my moisturizer and my sunscreen. I wait for it to settle in again, like I was saying, and I add a little bit of foundation on top and setting powder, and it takes care of the little added greasiness that comes from it, because it's not really for an oily skin type, but I still managed to use it and it has never broken me out. None of the products that I'm talking about in today's video have broken me out personally, and I am pretty sensitive to most ingredients when it comes to breakouts. So I would personally say that all of these products are great for if you have acne prone skin. So yes, fantastic product, smells amazing, feels so sophisticated and French, smells like roses, does contain fragrance, so stay away from if you have sensitive skin. If you have dry or slightly mature skin, this is a fantastic moisturizer cum sunscreen product. Next up, we have an oldie but a goodie, Neutrogena's Dry Touch Ultra Sheer SPF 50 Sunblock. It is a really good sunscreen. It protects against both UVA and UVB rays. A little goes a long way, although when it comes to sunscreen, more really is more. You should apply as much as you possibly can. Just slather it liberally all over your face. The thing I will say about this in particular though is that it doesn't really live up to the dry touch claim. It claims to be mattifying, doesn't feature any alcohol, but claims to be mattifying, and it's not necessarily mattifying. It is maybe a little less oily or greasy than some sunscreens, but that's really not saying much because most sunscreens do tend to be a little bit heavy. So my only gripe with this is that, you know, it's not what it says in terms of the dry touch aspect of it. But it is a really good sunscreen overall. There is a tiny tube version of this that I take with me when I'm traveling. It's really handy for that. And overall, no real complaints about it. It says that it's mainly for oily skin, but to be honest, I don't know if it's specifically mattifying. Yes, it is oil-free, but if you have dry skin, it's not going to make your skin drier. If you have sensitive skin, it's not going to cause any issues with it. It doesn't contain any fragrance. It's generally quite gentle, so it's like a classic oldie but a goodie. Now here's what is surprisingly mattifying. Bioderma's Photoderm AKN Matte SPF 50. Now this sunscreen really took me by surprise. It said that it was mattifying, and my experience, like I was saying, sometimes with mattifying sunscreens that don't feature denatured alcohol is that they're not really that mattifying. And this one isn't completely mattifying, but it is the least greasy of all the sunscreens that I've ever tried that are available in India. It's especially good for really warm days, and especially if you have really oily skin anyway or combination skin. I thought that this was going to be one of those sunscreens that just does not do what it says on the tin, but it does exactly what it says on the tin. I remember I took this with me on a trip to Goa once, and I was out in the sun all day long, and there wasn't even a little bit of redness. It's like, as far as my skin was concerned, I may as well have been indoors all day. It's a really effective sunscreen, and it's not going to clog your pores. I think there's just something about French skincare brands. Anyway, body sunscreens. We forget our bodies when it comes to the sun, and I know that sunscreens are mainly marketed towards just being for the face. The tubes are really tiny. You couldn't possibly use that stuff all over your body, but it is really important to protect the skin on your body, especially when, you know, it's warm out and you're not wearing very much. And this sunscreen in general is just, oh my god, I love it so much. I use this religiously every single day, just on my arms, and when I'm on holiday, just all over, everywhere. It is so light and non-greasy. I feel like the whole dry touch thing that maybe doesn't really come through for the face sunscreen has really come through with the body sunscreen. It's so light, it feels almost like just a really light moisturizer. If you're on holiday, you could maybe even skip the moisturizer. I do that all the time when I take this with me when I'm traveling and just use this as a moisturizer. But the best part about it, other than the formulation, is that it's a spray, so it's so easy to use, and there's really just no excuse not to have this with you every time you're traveling or every time you know you're going to be out in the sun. This is hands down my favorite body sunscreen that I've ever tried. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions at all, please comment or send me an email or a DM on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon. Bye.